an issue for,
I'm sorry, say that again?
Si può vedere.
is salt, here I'm coming, is salt an issue for a particular reason?
No,
Is salt,
he
is it
doesn't.
just purchase?
He doesn't really talk much about salt in the program. I think the general rule is I would not try to exceed 2,000 milligrams. It's like 15 to 2,000, somewhere in there. So if you're looking at, like I'm doing the cleanse now, and I thought I'm going to get some broth, and they're very high in sodium, but I'm not eating anything else. I'm not salting my eggs. I'm not salting my avocado. I'm not salting anything. So I thought, well, I'll have it. But it came out actually too, even for me. So I actually watered it down because I'm doing my cleanse this week, but I'm having a little broth while I'm having that. But it's quite salty. And as much as I love the flavor of salt, it's actually too salty. So I just added some fresh water to it. So, all right. Well, let's see if I can. Oops. All right, you guys, welcome in. So this week we're talking about label reading, and I'm just going to go through the whole thing as best as I can in the time that I have. Oh, I was just seeing the chat. But hello to Michelle. Hello, hello. Anyway, so today's demystifying label reading. So what we'll do today is I'll start out with some shout outs and some welcomes. And then we've got our funnies. I'm going to talk about what the big food companies don't want me to tell you, the way they label things, the words that they use, and what to be alerted to, because some of them to me draw a red flag. I'll go over the macronutrient breakdown, and then we'll go into the actual label, which you have a picture of there, on what that all means. And then we'll go deeper dive into the ingredients. And then I'll offer you guys some lists. If you guys want to email me, I can send you the list of ingredients in buzzwords and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's Q&A at the end. So feel free. It's a small group today. So please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question in the middle of the presentation. I don't mind because obviously I didn't say it, or if you're thinking that same question, somebody else probably is too. So if you've been with me long enough, I love questions. So bring them on. If you want to wait till the end, that's perfectly fine. But so write them down so you don't forget. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's see, these are our funnies for the day. I just thought they were kind of cute. Our shout outs, Christy, she met her goal. Let's see. She met her goal to the pound, to the exact pound. When she started the program, she had a goal weight and she met it to the exact pound. So good for you, Christy. Debbie, she had fatty liver, that's improved. A1C has improved. Blood sugars have improved, and her stomach has improved. She said she had stomach aches all the time, and since doing this program, and she's just finished up, all of those things have improved, and so she's super excited and pleased with the program. Cindy is consistently going down probably about 2 pounds every week, which, by the way, is a very ambitious goal. If you're just getting started, you might lose a lot at first. A lot of it's toxins, a lot of it's water weight, but then 1 to 2 pounds a week is a very ambitious and safe and healthy goal. And she is definitely doing that. So congratulations to you, Cindy. And also Tiffany, she's just finishing up. She's down 25 pounds, but more importantly, she wakes up feeling good. She wakes up feeling good and she wakes up feeling rested. And this girl had a couple of very big life-changing events happen to her during this process. So she hung in there. Life happens. Hang in there and take care of yourself. So congratulations to all of you. I want to welcome in, got some brand new people. Candy, Sue, Dr. Pamela. I've got 3 new Michelles. I think one of you is on the call today. Debbie, Kristen, Kim, Jacqueline, Heather, Crystal, and Devon. So welcome to all the new people, and I am really excited to work with you guys. Again, it is a new year, and it's just time to embrace that new energy and just embrace it and use it and move forward and just get excited about what this new year has to bring. All right, so today's topic, I feel, is just probably one of the most important ones. And, you know, you guys, if you are doing the coaching program with me, one of the benefits is you can text me anytime and take a picture of the product and say, Tammy, you know, is this okay? Is that okay? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'll tell you, and the first thing out of my mouth is usually going to be, show me the ingredients list. So if you do send me something, you know, show me a picture of what it is if you're sending me a picture, but also take a picture of the ingredients list, because that's going to be how I tell. If it has so much fat or so much protein or so many carbs, those are clues, but they're not going to tell me whether it's worthy or not. So my goal for you today is to give you enough information that you won't have to do that, or at least not as much. The more, if you're brand new, you're probably still going to do that. But as you go along, you'll start to understand, because I'll tell you why. If it's a no, I'll tell you why. If it's a yes, I'll tell you why as well. So feel free, don't be shy to send me your stuff. But I want you guys to practice doing this for yourself as well, because eventually I'm not going to be your coach, and eventually you're going to be on your own. And as I like to say, the little birdie's going to fly the nest. And once you, if you guys are coming to these programs or these presentations and you're really taking notes, by the time you get to the end of 12 weeks, you'll have a lot of tools in your tool belt. So I applaud you for showing up here today and or listening to this as a replay if you can't get here live. So congratulations to you on that. And so let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so let's see. This is what the food companies don't want me to tell you. They are very smart. They are in the business. They're in a business. It is their business to increase their bottom line. So it's their job to sell us stuff. And a lot of them know that we're looking for healthier items. So they're going to say some things on the front part of the label. And so we got to look at the back of the label to figure out if it's real or not. But let's start with the first one. First one is made with whole grains. Okay, so whole grains are good. Some of you may not be on grains yet. If you're past the 12 weeks, you might have introduced some grains or whole grains. But made with whole grains doesn't mean that it's 100% whole grains. It could be a giant bowl or a giant container of something, and they could have a tablespoon of whole grains in it, and the rest are processed grains that are not, that ripped out of the fiber, they're ripped out of the vitamins, ripped out of the nutrients, and then they're processed back, and then they throw a few things back in it, so it's highly processed, which can be very high glycemic, which can send your body into a fat storage mode. So made with whole grains is not, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's not a guarantee that it's good, because it doesn't guarantee that it's 100% whole grain. That would be a buzzword you want to see. But made with whole grains, it's a word to get you to buy their stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's primarily whole grains. It could be this much whole grains. Cholesterol free. So, you know, your doctor may have told you, you got to watch your cholesterol, you got to be careful about that. And so now you're on a mission to go cholesterol free or eat as many foods that are cholesterol free. But a lot of products will put cholesterol free on the label and they'll charge you a little bit more, but it never had cholesterol in it in the first place. And so my best example is like a nut butter, like a peanut butter. You know, peanut butter is a legume, so that doesn't come back till after 12 weeks, just to be clear. But it might say cholesterol free on it. Well, anything plant-based never had cholesterol in it. So if it's $1 more for the cholesterol free one, And then there's another one that's good ingredients right next to it that doesn't say cholesterol free. The cholesterol free one isn't better. Again, I'm not saying cholesterol free is bad. I'm just saying be aware that if it's a plant-based food, like a nut butter, for example, it never had cholesterol in the first place. So they're trying to get you to spend more money on something that you don't need to spend more money on. All natural, that sounds good. And that's like, oh, it's all natural. I want that one. Well, sugar is natural. So when I see all natural, I automatically assume it's going to have sugar in it. But all natural, there's no rules or regulations stating they have to have certain things or jump through certain hoops to be able to put that on their label. If once upon a time it was a natural thing, but they've processed the heck out of it and then they put it in this item, they can still say all natural. So all natural is another word that, for me, that one, a red flag goes up. I really want to check the ingredients list because I'm almost certain I'm going to find some sugar in it. Plant-based. Plant-based, again, I'm not saying plant-based is bad, but plant-based is a word that gets their radars up. Oh, it's plant-based, it must be better. And plant-based, a lot of things like vegetables and fruits and salads and things like that. You buy bags of salads and they're plant-based. But if you look at maybe the salad dressing in that plant-based bag, it might have things like soybean oil in it. So just because it's plant-based doesn't mean it's better. Plant-based meats. It's a lot of fake food, in my opinion, but there's a lot of chemicals and there's a lot of things in there that might not be in your best interest. So just because it's plant-based doesn't mean it's better. But again, I'm not saying plant-based means it's bad. It just means you need to do some further investigation. Gluten-free, basically the same rule applies with cholesterol-free. Sometimes it never had gluten in it to begin with. So they're getting you to reach for their product next to all the other products that are also gluten-free because they never had gluten in the first place. And you're buying their product because it says gluten-free. And, Dr. Infantino told me to avoid gluten. I better get that one. It just means we need to do a little bit more research. So sugar-free versus no sugar added. And this is not written in stone per se, but sugar-free typically means that it's got sugar substitutes in it. So it might have the aspartame. It might have the sucralose, the Splendas and the Splenda and the Equal, those kinds of things. And those are really hard on the gut. So we really want to avoid those kinds of things, saccharin, those kind of stuff. No sugar added usually will mean that it's the natural sweeteners like the monk fruit and the monk fruit and the stevia, and it could even be sugar alcohols like erythritol. So just be sure when you see no sugar added or sugar-free, you want to turn around, and I'm going to go over how to do that in a minute, but you want to turn it around and look at what's in the product to see if it's in your best interest or not. And then the 5% to 20% rule, I just kind of wanted to bring that up because we're going to go over the nutrition list in a little bit. But if something is 5% or less, that means it's very low in that thing. So it's 5% or less of vitamin D. It's a low, terrible source of vitamin D. If it's 5% or less of trans fat, that means it's very low in trans fat, which is a good thing. If something is 20% or more, that means it's a good source or it's an abundant source of that thing. So if it's 20% of trans fat or more, then it's too much trans fat. You probably want to put that down. So when you're looking at the labels and it has, 10% of your daily caloric intake, and that's based on a 2,000 calorie diet usually. So if you're taking in less calories, it's going to be less. But I'll go over that in a minute, but I just wanted to get your juices thinking about that. Okay, so here's the percentages. This is what I'm talking about. So this thing has 10% fat, so it's kind of in the middle between 5% and the 20%. So it's kind of a mediocre source of fat, for example. So anyway, let's start from the beginning. When you're looking at your labels, the first thing you want to do is servings per container. I have been fooled by that so many times. I'm like 230 calories. Wow, I thought this product would have been more. Or 8 grams of fat, I thought this product would have been more. But if it says 8 servings per container, I got to times, if I'm eating that whole container, I got to times it by 8. And when I really discovered this, I was, really fascinated by nutrition and learning all this stuff. I was looking at a prepackaged muffin, and it said, it was 250 calories, whatever it was, and so many fats and so many carbs and so many sugars, so many, whatever it had. But when I thought, oh, I thought it was so much less. I really thought these were worse for me. How could I have been so wrong? And then I realized later, well, it was 2 servings per container, even though it was just one muffin. So unless you're cutting that muffin in half and giving it to somebody else, you have to double your calories, double your fat, double your carbs, double your sugars, double all of it. So be sure that you know your servings per container. Serving size matters. So if it's got a count of things, if it's chips or cookies or something, so if it's 230 calories and 15 chips is a serving, you want to stay within that parameter so you know how many grams of carbs and fats and things you're getting. So next thing you're looking at is calories. Calories are not always bad. It's just, that's a clue. If something looks really high, we want to know where those calories are coming from. So just here, let me move. I'm moving you guys over, so I'm going to be looking at you from a different direction. So your macronutrients are carbs, fats, and proteins. And I'm going to go a little deeper into those next. But those are important things to understand. We're limiting our carbs on this program. Our fats should be primarily healthy fats. We can have some saturated fats. Butter is allowed. Coconut oil is allowed. But we want to keep those somewhat limited. And then, of course, protein. You want to see where your protein is coming from. So when we're looking at this nutrition label, we're seeing our fats, we're seeing our carbs, we're seeing our proteins, and then we can figure out where they're coming from based on the ingredients. Obviously, vitamins and minerals like vitamin D and calcium and iron and potassium, we want those things. Vitamins and minerals serve the body and help us get healthy. Someone is asking, is HO sunflower oil good? I don't know what HO is. HO. Sunflower oil is a seed oil, so I wouldn't recommend that, no. But I don't know what HO means. But sunflower oil is still a seed oil. Oh, high oleica. Okay. Yeah, I would not recommend it. It's not your worst oil, but it's not recommended. All right. Okay, so carbs. So when you're looking at your ingredients list on your carbs, these are some of the things you want to look for or avoid. So when I'm eating carbs, the way I base eating my carbs is based on the glycemic index. So how will we know if something's high or low? The glycemic index, there's certain foods and certain things that will spike the blood sugars up so high that it puts your body into fat storage. And then when they go up really fast like that and they hit the fat storage, they also plummet really fast. And then now you're hungry, hangry, tired, grumpy, hungry. I could cry real easy when I get that hungry. And then you want to eat again, so you go right back into fat storage, and all the while you're bypassing that middle ground of fat burning. So it's real important that we look at the ingredients. If something's high in carbs, well, let's go see where it's coming from. So the things that are high glycemic, like if you're looking at an oatmeal, instant oatmeal is going to be higher glycemic. Old fashioned, like on the right side here, or original, I should say, old fashioned, original, that's going to be a better choice because it's not processed. And by the way, it cooks just as fast in the microwave. So I would definitely not get the instant. When you're looking at your ingredients list and you see enriched flour, white flour, bleached flour, wheat flour, they basically all come from the same thing. They're all wheat flour. They're all full of gluten, but they're all very high glycemic. They're going to spike your blood sugars, tell your body to go into fat storage, and then plummet again. And by the way, when you mix flour and water, it makes paste. So think about that when you're putting that into your body. There's no nutritional value in it, virtually nothing. It other than spiking your blood sugars, it doesn't do you any good. Maltodextrins, that's going to be a higher glycemic item. Modified cornstarch, that would be high glycemic. So if you're buying things like bread type products, stone ground, that's a word you want to see. 100% whole grain. Like we discussed, made with whole grains isn't good enough. You want 100% whole grain. Buckwheat or whole rye, those are words you want to see. The word sprouted is a wonderful word to see when you guys reintroduce bread. Flourless is another good word for your carbs. Cassava, almond, coconut, and arrowroot flours. Those don't come back until week 12, but those are things that you want to either start baking or cooking with yourself, or if you're buying a product, like there's chips out there made with cassava flour, it's a far better chip than the corn chip. Michelle is asking, it's in the prone. Oh, okay. Yeah, it is a little bit in the shakes, and that's to make it a little bit creamier. It's up to you to avoid it, but the shakes are pretty good. They're not perfect. Well, some of our products are pretty damn good, but not all of it's perfect. We do the best we can. We can split hairs all day, but it's not something I would do all the time. So that is right. All right, so sugars, also carbohydrates. Sugar is a carb, and sugars will, again, spike those blood sugars, sending your body into fat storage. You bypass the fat burning zone. So the main words to avoid are high fructose corn syrup. That is probably the most common, most processed, most addictive form of sugar that you can consume. Evaporated cane juice sounds very pretty and fluffy and nice, but it's still a sugar. It still will spike your blood sugars, sending you into fat storage. These things will all set you up to be pre-diabetic or eventually diabetic if you're eating a lot of foods with a lot of these products in it. Brown rice syrup. A lot of times it says organic brown rice syrup, and that sounds really, really healthy. And that's very high glycemic. That's high on the list. If you guys ever want to Google anything, like what is the glycemic index of this or what is the glycemic index of that, you want it to be 55 or under. The lower the number, the better it is. Beet sugar, still a sugar. Corn syrup solids, that's the kind of stuff that you'll find in Cremora or Coffee Mate, those coffee creamers, those powdered stuff. Sucrose, that's just regular sugar. Dextrose, regular sugar. Honey has a lot of health benefits. A lot of honeys sold on the market have high fructose corn syrup in them. So you do got to read the labels. Right now, we're just taking honey out of the equation altogether, just to keep you, because we're trying to get rid of sugars right now. We're trying to not feed the bad bacteria in the gut. The good sugars, monk fruit, is probably the number one choice. Stevia is really good. Some other names of stevia are Reb A, Reb B, or Reb M. Coconut sugar, date syrup, and maple syrup are all sugars. However, they're lower on the glycemic index. They're all under the 55. So they're a better choice. So if you ever, when you're done with the program and you start to bake again, or you're cooking for your family and you don't want to use some of these other things, you might change it out for coconut sugar. Is probably your best bet. Or maple syrup. Sugar alcohols can bother some people. I know it can bother me. It makes me bloated. It can make you have diarrhea. So just be mindful of that. It is natural and should not raise your blood sugars, but I've had diabetics tell me it still raises them. So just be mindful of that. As I mentioned, the number 3 is low glycemic. It's not a sugar-free. And then obviously the ones to avoid, aspartame, which is like your equal, the blue packets. Another name for that now is amino sweet. So if you see amino sweet, put it back on the shelf. That stuff is really bad for the gut, and it does affect the gut bacteria. Sucralose, which is your Splenda or your yellow packets, and saccharin. Those are all chemicals, not good. The FDA says they're okay, but you keep doing these every day. You're having Diet Cokes every day. You're really setting yourself up for some problems. All right, so some fats. So if your label says it's high in fat, is it bad or is it good? I don't know. Let's go see. So what are the ingredients? Are the ingredients nuts, or are they seeds? Or it's a nut butter? That's okay. Then if it's higher fat, we know nuts and seeds are a fat. So that might be a good thing. You're looking at a guacamole and it's primarily avocado. It's going to be high in fat, but that's a good fat. So that's okay. Your oils like avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, those are good oils. So if your product has fat in it and it's got those products, that's good. Salmon is a good healthy fat. It's a good source of protein as well. That's a twofer. That's a twofer. So are eggs, by the way. Eggs are twofers. It's a fat. Eggs are a fat and a protein. Salmon is a fat and a protein as well. Grass-fed butter, if your product is high in fat, but it has grass-fed butter, that's good. And ghee, that's a clarified butter. All of the lactose molecules have been taken out, and it's a little bit lower in fat, so it's a bit better for you. So I bought some ghee and I really like it. Some people don't like it, but I really like it. So I think it might take some getting used to, but I sometimes cook my food in that when I'm wanting that kind of buttery kind of flavor. Someone is asking, you can use pink, blue, and yellow packets as ant killer. Yes, that's funny. You're talking about the sugar substitutes. In the chat, she's saying that you can use the pink packets, the blue packets, yellow packets as ant killer. Just sprinkle it around the ant beds. That's crazy. That's crazy, but I believe you. And it's funny, you've seen those things. I've been posting a lot of that stuff in the Facebook group. You see like McDonald's and like these, it's like 5 years old and it hasn't come apart. It hasn't molded. It hasn't done anything. Or it shows the same, like there's those sugars, like what we're talking about, or what I don't know who said that, but they'll go after the real sugar, but they won't even touch the aspartame or the sucralose. The bugs know better. They know better not to touch that stuff. The bugs won't go after the McDonald's hamburgers either. They'll go after real food. So if your product has soybean oil, but also sunflower or safflower or canola or vegetable oils, please put it back on the shelf and don't buy it. Palm kernel oil is a saturated fat, so in very much moderation. If you're eating like a protein bar that has a coating of chocolate on the top, it probably has palm kernel oil. So if it gets in your car when it's really hot out, it will melt. That's going to be a saturated fat. If it's hard in a cooler temperature but melts in warmer temperatures, that's that's a saturated fat. That's likely a palm kernel oil. Shortening, that's avoid partially hydrogenated or just hydrogenated. That's the stuff you're going to find in margarine. Fake butter is worse for you than real butter. Let's say that again. Fake butter is worse than real butter. So don't eat margarine. There's hydrogenated oils in there, and those are trans fats. They're not just saturated fats, they're trans fats, which are horrible for you. Oh, look at that. I got shortening on there twice. Lard and margarine. Well, margarine has the hydrogenated oils in it, so avoid that. All right, proteins. So when you're looking at your nutrition label and it's got some proteins in it, we want to avoid soy. Soy is a hormone disruptor and usually very highly processed. I would go for whey if it has eggs or meat, chicken, fish, seafood, pork, or dairy. Those are better choices. Right now, we're not doing dairy, but those are really good sources of protein. Nuts and beans. I know a lot of people think it's a great source of protein. Nuts are a great source of fat, and beans are a great source of carbohydrates. Yes, Michael.
On the proteins, I saw on one of the videos that you guys, Epic bars, are those okay during the 12 weeks?
Yes.
So there's like different protein ones. So there's venison. Is it just the turkey and the chicken?
You can have the venison. You can have the venison.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they use the right sweeteners. Dr. Infantino's approved them, so.
Okay.
There's so many bars out there. I mean, there's probably a million. When I went to the Natural Foods Expo, like when I had my vitamin store, you go every year, they'd have the Natural Foods Expo in LA. And it's all vitamins and sports nutrition and protein bars and protein shakes and vitamins and supplements and omega-3s and just every vitamin that you've ever seen in any vitamin store, including protein bars like you're talking about. There's a new one coming out every day. And I'm sure some go out of business, but there's a new one coming out every day. There was building upon building upon building, row upon row upon row, with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in each and every row on both sides. So there's so many out there, we don't know them all. Well, I'll never know them all because there's a new one coming out tomorrow. So, but protein, by the way, I don't want to confuse anybody and I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but a lot of people are asking me, how much protein should I have? You want to take your desired weight times 0.7, and that would be how many grams you're aiming for in a day. But at bare bones minimum, we're aiming for at least 80. Spread throughout the day. Don't try to do 40 in the morning and 40 at night. Spreading it throughout the day is your best bet, ideally. All right. So bonus round. These are some words that you might see on your ingredients list. This is going to be the first one here, is what you're going to find in your processed meats, your deli meats. Sodium nitrates. It increases your risk of pancreatic cancer, which is probably one of the worst cancers you can get. Most people do not survive that one. It damages blood vessels and increases high blood pressure. So that's just something we really want to avoid. Things like salami and pepperoni, they're so highly fat anyway. You don't want this extra stuff in your food. BHA, BTH, those are really super long, chemically sounding words. Michael, you have another question?
Yeah, just on what Hillary overheard you say that on the weight thing, is it your current weight or your goal weight times 0.7?
This is for
Your
protein.
goal weight.
Your goal weight? Okay.
Goal weight.
What's the formula?
Your goal weight times 0.7, right?
0.7.
Yeah.
Okay, for protein.
For protein.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So someone's in the chat says, I went to check Epic bars at Whole Foods. They look good, but I decided to stay with the Chomps for the price. You can get those that are clean and a good price at Costco and Sam's Club. And just make Costco and Sam's Club make their own. Yeah, the Kirkland bars are allowed from Costco. That's Costco brand. So again, just if you guys are seeing a brand of bars or anything, you got to read your ingredients list. All right, BHA, BTH, found in cereals, gums, chips, vegetable oil. It keeps food from changing color, so that's why they add it. But the side effects, altered behavior, increased risks of cancer. It's an oxidant, which basically means it ages you. It oxidizes your cells, which is a process of aging. So really try to avoid those things. Oops, don't do that. We're not done yet. All right, so insect names. So by the way, there might be bugs in your food, so you might want to look at your ingredients list. So if you see words like cochineal extract or carmine, it's the little red bugs, and that's the picture I have down here on the right. They're little red bugs, and they crush them up and they use them as a red dye. They're primarily, I guess, found in candy, so you guys won't be eating that anyway. Confectioner's glaze, that comes from the secretions of the female lac bug, and it gives foods a shiny appearance. Shellac gives foods a waxy appearance, and it comes from the lac bug as well. Now, well, let me just finish this. Other man-made chemical types of ingredients, we want to avoid methylcellulose. You'll find that in the fake meats, or the plant-based meats, dairy alternatives, breads, soups, and even your personal care products like toothpaste or shampoo. But it can cause diarrhea, bowel obstruction, and other digestive disorders. So, and of course, these things are all okay by the FDA, but of course, so is cigarettes and alcohol. So just kind of use your judgment. Once in a blue moon, you take something with methylcellulose, okay. Or just like that sunflower oil, once in a while, okay. But if you're doing something like, if you're eating this stuff on a daily basis, it starts to add up. And if you're having digestive issues, you definitely want to eliminate that. Artificial colors, I could probably talk about how bad it is for us and for the kids primarily. It is just really, really bad. It can be toxic to bone marrow. They're primarily made from petroleum and other inedible ingredients. And they cause, well, I have a list here. Where'd it go? I didn't have room to type it all up. Behavioral issues, irritable, inattention, hyperactivity, hypersensitivity to other foods. Certain blue ones cause skin and bronchial issues. The red dye, number 3, thyroid cancer, DNA damage, inflammation, colon problems, agitation. Yellow dye, number 5, allergic reactions, asthma, ADD, autism, depression, anxiety. And this is all the stuff, like all these things that kids are eating, like the Gatorades that are blue and greens and yellows, and all the colors of the Skittles and the M&Ms. How many of these things have we eaten grown up? So now the more I'm learning about that, it's really, really, really getting to be difficult to eat anything with added colors. Someone is asking, the wax on cucumbers. I don't know, because there's no label on it. It might just be a wax. She's asking if the wax on cucumbers is that shellac. It may or may not be. I would say ask your grocer and ask them what they put on there, because you're right. There's a lot of apples sometimes have that too. And then someone else is asking, doesn't pretty much everything have microscopic bugs? Yeah, yesterday or the day before, or I think it was Monday, I went over the general rules, what's allowed in certain items. Like I have the list here, I can read it to you if you want. Ketchup is allowed to have 30 fruit fly eggs per 100 grams. Canned corn is allowed. They're allowed. This is like, that's okay. 2 insect larvae per 100 grams. Blueberries are allowed to have 2 maggots per 100 berries. Peanut butter is allowed to have 50 insect fragments. They didn't say which insects, but 50 insect fragments per 100 grams. Wheat, 1% of the grains are infested with bugs. Sesame seeds, 5% are infested, and coffee beans, 10%. So yeah, there's bugs, and there's no way to get around it. Bugs are going to go where there's food. That's just how it is. Companies have to do their due diligence and their best effort to keep their factories clean and free of all those bugs, but there's no way to 100% bug free. Michael said I would peel them. I peel my cucumbers. I do. I don't like the skin anyway. Maybe because that wax does bug me. But good point. Good point, Liz. Oops. Titanium dioxide. That's a food coloring. That's very toxic. Glyphosate. That is the stuff that's in Roundup, and that's usually not added to your foods. You might not see that on the label, but it's sprayed on the crops to dry the weed out quicker. So it may very well be in your foods. So that's why we want to go organic, the best you possibly can. All right, so let's recap a little bit today. We want to check our serving size. Calories matter, but we want to know where they're coming from. Are the fats in that product good or bad? Look at your ingredients list. Calories are not the whole story. The fat grams are not the whole story. Protein is not the whole story, because if it's coming from nuts, it's an incomplete protein. If it's coming from beans, it could be an incomplete protein, or seeds. So just be mindful of that. But once you understand what these ingredients are and what which ingredients are fats or carbohydrates or proteins, it'll really help you decipher if your products are good or bad. If you guys would like, please write down my email address. If you want a copy of all the sugar names, there's like 50, what did we do? 58 of them yesterday. I can send you the list of all the sugar names. So we think we're understanding some stuff, and there's sugar names in there that sound like they're really good for us, but they're not. They're still sugar. And I also have a buzzword list I can send you. But if you send me an email, say, please send me the list, I'll respond to your email with the attachments of those. If you text me, I don't have it in my phone. So please email me that. That being said, let's open it up to questions. Anybody have any questions?
I feel like I do. And the question is based on trying your best to stay on the outside aisles of the stores and make your own snacks. So that's a category that I think needs expansion for me, as it relates to trying to calorie cycle or whatever at this day 53, 50, what am I on? 59. I need to know what a healthy snack that I can make is. Like I used to make oat bars. Well, that's out, so like my patterns are, gonna have to be redone. So what are some healthy snacks that we can make so we can control the ingredients?
So next week I'm going over that as far as recipes. But like for me, snacks to me, at least the things I snack on, are my regular meal foods, only a smaller portion. So if I have
like sometimes you want like chocolate or something. Like what are you doing? You just having the shake?
No, I'm not really much of a shake person. So I will do like, I'll make a popsicle with a shake. I will make the popsicles with a shake, or I can make something with a cacao powder. Like if you get like a nut butter, like an almond butter with cacao. Cacao is a great way to add chocolate to anything because that's allowed and it's good for you.
Oh, I did buy hazelnut butter with cacao mixed in it at the farmer's market. I can eat that.
I don't know what else is in it.
Let me get it. Go to somebody
Yeah,
else.
yeah, bring it. Let's go. Let's read the ingredients. I was hoping somebody would bring some of their products, like, hey, can we have this? Let's do this live.
I got a question. So
Yeah.
there's Lily likes this beef gelatin powder in her shakes and stuff.
It's, for college.
Wonderful.
Is it okay?
Yes, in fact, that reminds me of another snack that Liz will love, is I do a pudding, a chocolate pudding, and I make it with the beef gelatin. It's just a gelatin and I don't have the recipe in my head and I don't have it in front of me.
This is not okay. This is not okay.
I had a feeling, but
The second ingredient is sugar. Hazelnut sugar, organic chocolate, and sea salt is one. The other one says organic peanuts, sugar, organic chocolate, ground coffee, organic coconut oil, cinnamon, nutmeg, sea salt, which sounded delicious at the time.
yeah, so and a lot of this stuff sounds healthy. Like I said, the front of the label will say, diet this or 100-calorie that. Well, great. If it's 100-calorie of little Oreo cookies, first of all, that's gonna, you turn it
Can't
around
even read it. It's like so small, you can't even read it. Like with regular eyes, 2020, can't read it.
with regular eyes.
So that's like $20 gone.
Oh, girl. Wow.
Well, they're fancy in Napa. I don't know where all you guys live, but shoot. Yeah.
Tammy,
Yes.
this is Kathy. I'm sorry, I joined the call late. Did you cover anything with maltodextrin or carrageenan?
Maltodextrin is on the avoid list.
Right.
Carrageenan, it's just, I think that's another thickener. Again, these are all ingredients, if we have it on occasion, if it's coming in, but if we can eat clean most of the time, eat your fresh vegetables, eat your clean, organic, wild-caught, free-range meats, your organic vegetables, your healthy fats, and staying away from prepackaged stuff as much as we can,
Right.
you're going to be better off.
I have a coconut milk. It's an organic coconut milk, unsweetened, and it has gellan gum, guar gum, natural
yeah, those are all
flavor.
thickeners.
Okay, sodium
There's some
citrate.
There's
Right.
some out there that don't have as much of that stuff. I
Yeah.
think I want to say Khalifa. Lily's dark chocolate. Someone's asking about that.
Yeah, Khalifa.
I believe that might be a dairy product. I don't know that it's dairy free, but I use those. I use those. No sugar in that brand. I don't know what brand. I think chia seed water and cacao is going to do it for me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can make a chia pudding with the cacao in the chia.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen that, and I feel like that was a good one.
Yeah.
Can you read me the ingredients list?
Again, too small. I'll try to take a picture of it and blow it up. Hold on.
I think the hue has it's sweet, but I think it's pretty clean.
I think so.
I feel like I might have even sold that in my store.
Yeah.
It's been so long now, I don't remember everything.
No refined sugar, no cane sugar, no sugar alcohol, no erythritol, no soy, no gluten, no palm oil, no lecithin, no emulsifiers.
Okay, great, but what isn't it?
I know. Organic cacao.
Good.
Organic unrefined coconut sugar.
Good.
Organic cacao butter, sea salt.
Good.
That's it.
Good. Girl, you just eureka.
So everybody who's like me, that has a chocolate situation is either the chia pudding or one of these, or put a little bit of this in your chia pudding, like a cacao nib. You could shave it.
Yeah,
What's the name of it again?
HU.
HU.
Yeah, they're like $6 a bar unless you can catch them on sale, Whole Foods or something.
Okay.
At what week can you have introduced chocolate?
well, you could have cacao today. Cacao or even cocoa powder, unsweetened cocoa powder. So you can
Yeah.
add that to anything if you're making
I
like,
stick extra in my shake to make it super chocolatey, and then I put the avocado with it too, so then it's thick, it's chocolatey. I put the nibs in there and I drink it all day. Half the
Nice.
time I don't even eat lunch or a snack because this starting at 10 or 11 is what I eat till dinner. I just hang out with it, add ice cubes or whatever. Yeah, it's me and my avocado shake. You just keep add some more nibs, and then after, like, you could put some flaky sea salt on it.
Cow nibs.
And then you're all set.
Mm.
Hillary had another question. Is there a certain amount of fats per day we're supposed to have? Grams of fat per day?
Is there
Like the
A formula
protein?
like for the protein.
Is there a formula like the protein for fat? She's asking.
that depends on your goals and your size, really. But for generally speaking, I like to see, depending on your calorie counts, if you can get 15 to 20 grams of fat per meal, you're good. A lot of you guys are going to go over because you're not eating a lot of carbs, and that's perfectly fine. The healthy fats, if you have more than that, and it's coming from avocado or salmon or, your coconut oils and butter and your healthy and your nuts, that kind of stuff, your good salad dressings. I would not be upset with that at all. It's just the saturated fats or from like soybean oils, those you want to avoid altogether. But the healthy fats, generally speaking, so like a half avocado is going to be about 15. That would put you in the range of 15 or 20. A serving of nuts, quarter cup, that's about, well, it depends on the nut, but it's about 18 grams of fat.
Nuts
So
are out.
Yeah.
Not for till day 20, I think, Michael.
Okay.
nuts, yeah, till day 30, yeah.
Something like that. I've been doing it, but then I overdo it. So I don't know. I'm like, I'm eating a cup of cashews. I'm like, oh, these are so good. I don't know.
That's a lot. A cup is a lot.
Yeah, they're so good. I put them in a dry frying pan, get them really hot, and put some color on them, and throw nutritional yeast and a tablespoon of butter and salt and pepper on them as a snack. And then once you get going, you kind of forget where you're at.
Are you
Like
eating a whole cup at a time?
Huh?
Are you eating a whole cup at a
Yeah,
time?
probably.
Ooh.
It's just,
See, that's a lot. That's too much fat in one sitting. That's a lot.
well, that's what they're asking. Like, what are the ratios? Because like, if you
Quarter
say
cup.
well, for the day, you go, okay, well, I'll just have them all now, so then, you just gotta, we're all here
I
for a
would
reason.
spread it out. I would spread it out because your fat, one of the reasons you need fat, number one, is to increase your satiety so you feel more satisfied. B, to reduce cravings. And C, it helps you absorb your fat soluble vitamins. So if you're eating a fat-free diet and you have all these beautiful colors, purple cabbage, red bell peppers, green leafies, all these beautiful vegetables, and you're not eating any fat, you can't absorb it. So it's important that you eat a little fat at each meal. But if you're having all fat one meal over here, but none over there, I don't think that's going to serve you best. I think you need to spread those out.
I am eating fat in every meal. I just overdid the nuts a bit. I keep thinking I can restrain myself. It does not seem to be the case.
So yeah, so put it in a dish and put the rest away. So that way, if you're mindlessly eating, because I used to sometimes keep my dish on my desk here, but
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, but I would only have my quarter cup. So even if it took me all day to eat it, I would know that at least I would have control or some understanding of what I just did. You know what I mean? Because if I just put a bowl and didn't measure it, then it's gone. Okay, whatever.
last note on this, I will say, less cranky eating those than without. More cranky without. And I have avocado in the shake. I
Oh,
have butter in
yeah.
the eggs. I'm eating fat, but I am so much less cranky with some nuts.
Yeah, but a cup is too much.
Too much.
Sorry.
So the last question I have is we're going to start our cleanse, the lemon juice and maple syrup on Monday. Should I do that while I work, or do you have to go to the bathroom? I don't know anything about doing that.
No, I mean, I'm on my cleanse right now.
Okay.
And I'm shocked because I'm being a good girl with my water too. I got all my water in the last couple days and I don't have to get up and pee a lot.
I did. We
I
did.
don't know what's going on. I'm not taking all of the supplements, which might be why. I'm just taking the body purifier.
My husband and I both were like, good thing we're home.
Okay.
So we had to go
Okay.
through
I'll
a
start
lot.
to go to work or something. Towards the end of work, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So you could start it on the weekend so you have a good idea of how your body's going to respond. Because the truth is everybody's body responds different. Some people gain weight on the cleanse. Some people lose weight on the cleanse. Some people can't tolerate the cleanse. Some people do fabulous on the cleanse. Some people love the cleanse. Some people hate it. So it's everybody's different.
Okay. I mean, I have Monday off, so that first day I'll have off, and then.
There you go.
Yeah, so move your fast to Friday afternoon and do one of the bottles the Friday afternoon and then move it, just so you got the one day, you got a half of one, then you do two Saturday, two Sunday, two Monday.
We have to do the
have to
veggie days,
vegetables
right?
today.
Yeah, today's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, right?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Today's Wednesday.
Wednesday and Thursday veg. So you could start Friday.
It's too late to do 2 days veg today, but we could do
Do Thursday
Thursday,
and
Friday,
Friday.
and start.
Well, if you started Friday afternoon and
Yeah.
you say it's too late, I don't know what time it is there, but you could start with your veggies now and then just kind of move into it halfway through Friday and just do one bottle. You know what I'm saying, Hillary?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
do two bottles Friday, do one. I've done it before. It kind of worked out because you don't want to take on that much lemon juice for me on the throat all at once. I have to slow that down, peel that back, push that back a little bit.
Wait, say that again. You want to sip throughout the day. You don't want to
I
drink it
had
all.
a hard time with that much lemon juice in one day, period. I diluted it in warm water the whole way through. Not even
I'm only
half.
drinking about one a day. Because I felt full. I just felt full.
It is filling. Yeah, it's hard to get the two in. It is true.
Well, if you do a sip and then you do water, and I'm going to recommend that you definitely do the water. A, it's going to help you get your water down. But B, if you're using this container with this, I forgot because it's been a while. I feel like the lemon juice is going right on my teeth. I don't want it to eat up my enamel. So I immediately sip my water and I swish it around so that it doesn't affect my teeth. If you put it in a different container, you could use a straw, you could, avoid all that, but still you want to take your water in after it so it doesn't hurt your throat or your, esophagus.
Yeah, whatever way you guys decide. I don't know. I do a coffee cup half full of hot water, half full of the juice, and I slug 3 of those. That's pretty much the container itself.
Okay.
And the water that was recommended because you're doing half and half. So you have to do 1 bottle of the mixture and 1 bottle of that amount of water. So that if you do half and half, you're already you've met your steps, you hit your steps and then you just move on to the next one. You're supposed to do 2 a day. I've only been able to do 1.5 a day. And like Tammy said, you just get you're out of time. You're just drinking and drinking. It's really nice. I loved the way I felt on it. It was really hard on my throat right here. I just could not take the lemon. It tastes great.
It does taste good.
I really liked it, but I couldn't tolerate it.
Yeah.
So I got through 3 days And then I tried to do another half, and then Dr. Infantino was like, pull yourself off. It's you got the benefit. You did the fast, you did the cleanse, you're okay. So just don't freak out.
Awesome. All right, anybody else? I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording then. See you later.